Hey everybody. All right, so I've got set myself a little challenge here. I'm going to try to make a React app in 10 minutes or less. We'll see how I do. It's going to be these hearts here, and I'm going to actually start this process by, you can see I'm already on my desktop. I'm going to say create React app, and while this runs, I'll talk about it. Hearts. So that's going to run. That's going to build out my React template for me. Super useful. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this form here and try to break it down into components. I'm going to make a heart component, and then that heart component is going to use these two circles and this square. And this is going to be a whole lot like this HTML here, right? Where we've got a couple of divs inside of a root div. And you can see they've just got some styling, some background color, position, width and height, and that square is being rotated by 45 degrees. You can see they each have an absolute positioning, a top and a left. And we're going to use props to make that happen. Okay, so we're good here. We've got hearts. Here's my thing. I'm going to cruise on this, and I can see it's 11:45. Let's see how I do. All right. And here in the source folder, I'm going to just delete all this stuff because that's what I like to do. And that lets me just make my own files. And there's no other stuff in there. I'm going to make an app.js. And I'm going to make a folder called components. And in there, I'm going to put a heart.js and a circle.js and a square.js. All right, good. So to make this happen, we're gonna. These are each one of these gonna be a function. So is this app. We're gonna. Our app's gonna be sort of our meta function. But in our index, everything's going to start in our index. And I have this extension installed here called, I think it's called Dead Simple React Snippets. And I'm going to use it because I'm trying to do this quickly. And I always use it. What it lets you do is you can just type IMR. You see it came up orange there, and it says import React. And so that'll import React. I can say IMRD. It'll import React DOM. I can say React DOM.render. We're going to call the render method of React DOM, and into that we're going to pass, yes, ladies and gentlemen, our app and a location to put that app, just like we were talking about in Workshop. And that's pretty much it. I'm done. No, I need to import my app from app, and we can go into our app and we can write that. So our app, again, is going to be we're going to IMR. And this time I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to say SFC. And that gives me a stateless functional component. And you can see there's your function. And from that function, I'm going to just return, I have to return a div or a React.fragment because a return statement can't have multiple children at the same level, as you already know, I'm sure. And no, actually, this is not going to be this. This is going to be our heart. All right, so our heart is going to be this component here that's going to hold both the circle and the square, and that'll just let me reuse. I can reuse that heart multiple times, and that heart is going to get some props. There's going to be a top and a left, and these will be just sort of some root values that we're going to build our whole thing off of. And so everything inside this heart is going to be based off the top and the left of the heart, right? And I'm just gonna give it some numbers. I already figured them out before. 190, but we could make another heart with other numbers, and we'll do that at the end. So I'm gonna import heart from components heart. Right? And so now I need to go write that heart. And that heart's going to be, again, a stateless functional component, just like app. but it's going to bring in a couple of values. So let's do that. We're passing in as props 2 values. I'm going to import React from React. And again, this is going to be called a heart. And we're going to say top and left. So I'm going to destructure those 2 values off of my props. And this is equivalent to saying this.props.top and this.props.left. And inside my heart, I'm again going to have a div. There's a lot of divs in here, and that's one reason people use React.fragment. But I'm in a hurry here, so I'm not going to go into that just now. But this is where we're going to bring in the circle and the circle and the square. Right? And so these will also need their absolute positioning. As you remember from the HTML, just pause for a sec and show you that again. In the HTML, wherever that is, I'm running out of time. Right? This is probably the only thing that really changes much, right? This width and border radius and everything. I could probably actually reuse all this styling, but I'm going to have a circle style and a square style. But you can see these numbers change, and those numbers are therefore going to need to be props that we pass in. So we'll have a top, and we'll have a left, and we'll need that for each one of these. So I'll just copy that. So there'll be a top and a left, and we're bringing in the top and the left into the heart. And you remember that was 190. So what I'm going to do is use a template literal for each one of these. And that's that JavaScript syntax that lets me use a value. So I can combine with a string. And so what I can do is just say top px. And here I can say left px. But this one's going to be us going to have the same top, right? So we can actually copy that. And you can see in our picture the top of this circle and the top of this circle, or the center, right, of this circle, and the center of this circle in the same place. The center of this square is going to be a little bit farther down. Mouse, give me trouble. And so this third one is going to be, what's it going to be? It's going to be top plus a little bit. It'll be top plus 35. Right? And so here for the left values, for the circle, you can see that's a little bit over to the right. So that'll be left plus 70. And this one will be left plus 35. All right, so we've got these functions, and we're passing different values in for the locations of each one of these objects. And I'm already 5 minutes into it, maybe 6, maybe 7. I need to hurry things up. And so I'm going to say import circle from circle, and I'll import square from square. And that should pretty much do it. You notice we haven't needed any styling so far because none of these things have any style, but the circle and the square are going to need some style. And let's write that now. So we'll get our IMR and our SFC, and this will be a circle. And again, we were bringing in a top and a left, and we were returning just a div. But this div's going to have some style. right? And so we'll use that style attribute. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat just a little bit and not type all this out because I know I'll run over if I do. But it's just basically that HTML but rewritten in JavaScript. So we've got the background color, the width, height, border radius, and the position. And we can use that style in here. And so I could just say circle style and pass that object into my style prop. But what I want to do is actually make a new object with the top and the left folded in. So what I'm going to do is pull all those properties off using dot, dot, dot. And we'll say top, top, left, left. And so what I'm doing is I'm just adding that top and that left to this style definition. Nifty, right? And there's something going on here. Why is that div looking funny? Oh, because I need one more curly brace. And always pay attention to your code editor. It'll tell you when things are broken, as it just did for me. So that should work just fine. And now I can do something real similar for my square. I'll say IMR and SFC square. And this is going to, again, have a top and a left. And it's going to return a div. And that div is going to have a style. And look at that. Just the same as before. I need that square style. And I'm going to cheat again and just copy that over. Already wrote it out. So technically, I'm definitely over 10 minutes. Technically, but pretty close. Pretty close. We'll npm start that. See what we get. And there's the heart. All right, before I go, I'm going to just take a moment to come into my app and make another heart. There we go. There's 2 hearts. Now, your challenge is to take this code and make an array. And make an array of numbers, right? Maybe it could be an array of arrays even. And use the map method of the array to make, say, like a ton of these. And you could also use array.from, as I showed you in workshop, to make all this data. Make just a whole bunch of random data and make random hearts. And that's your challenge, should you choose to accept it. Again, entirely optional. Do as you will. I hope this helps just a little bit. And the one thing I want to say is I love making dumb little React things just like this. I think it's a great way to learn React and experiment with ideas. When I have a big project I'm working on and it has a lot of complicated stuff, I'll usually make a separate project for just one element of it so I can test that out on its own and make sure that's working in a manageable way that doesn't have a whole bunch of moving parts and changing parts and weird parts involved. All right, a little bit over 10 minutes, but hope you enjoyed it.